Good to see you. My name is Scott Heare. I get to be one of the pastors here, and always a privilege to be here to speak and teach. If you're a guest with us this morning, we hope that you feel welcome first, and that you feel like this is a home place for you. If there's anything that we can do, we're battling every week to try to create new things to make sure that there are places for everyone to connect and to build and to grow. And if you are some of the people that know how to do that, let us know, because we are a small place that has grown to a middle-sized place and seems to be growing to a larger place because God wants to do that right now. And so just please feel welcome more than anything else. We've been moving through a series on the 10 proclamations. We've changed the name of it because we have that kind of power. Because the word commandment actually isn't the word that in the Hebrew works. It's actually better proclamation instead of commandment. And so we've been talking about the difference between a commandment and a proclamation and walking through each of them. We're going to do that again this week. But one of the things that you'll know about us if you are a guest is that we take God very seriously, but we don't take ourselves very seriously. And so what we've been trying to do also is to find a way to memorize the 10 commandments, or the 10 proclamations as they were. And so we put it to a song, and the song is ridiculous, and there is hand motions. So if you aren't prepared for that, well, sorry. Let's all stand where you are, and we'll sing this fun song. We actually get to finish this week.
Last week?
Is this our last week?
Last one.
I feel sad.
I do too.
Do you?
I know.
And so this week is covet, right? Covet, and the hand motion for covet is this. I will not covet my neighbor's wife. I will not covet my neighbor's house. I will not covet other people's stuff. This is kind of what I feel like when I'm coveting. I can only see the stuff, right? So that's covet. You like that?
I love that.
Do you? You'd say that either way?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. So this is my good friend and one of our worship leaders, Nathan Lowry. So would you guys give him a round of applause for him? Like, he's very kindly endured my ridiculousness, and so and you are too. So I appreciate that. So that's true, right?
Tolerate. Yeah.
You tolerate. That's good. I'm all right with that. I'm fine being that way. So all right, we're ready. We're in your hands when you're ready. How are we going to end this? Are we just going to? How do we end?
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, I do. You want to just end it, and then we'll. Which way you want to do it?
So everybody's going to sing. All right. So let's do the last couple weeks, and then so. Do not lie, do not covet. These are the words of God, and they're for real. Good, I like it. Yeah, it's kind of catchy. I figured add a little twang at the end.
A little twang at the end?
Something.
Okay.
So you can do it as over-exaggerated as much.
Okay, so out of control country?
This is where it gets really silly for Scott, so he loves it.
I get very excited. So, all right, let's go. I'm ready.
All right.
I am the Lord your God who brought you out of slavery. Have no other gods before me. Don't take my name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it always holy. Honor your mom and dad. Do not murder. Don't commit adultery. Don't steal. Do not lie, do not covet. These are the words of God, they're for real. Now, first off, we got to do it one more time, a little bit faster. You guys covet awesome. Did you like that? Did you see when they all did the things? It's my favorite. I think it's so much fun. You're all looking at me like this, and I feel like we're kids. And so, yeah, let's do it one more time.
All right.
Let's speed it up. Here we go. You ready? I feel like we can do this. Here we go. Yeah. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of slavery. Have no other gods before me. Don't take my name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it always holy. Honor your mom and dad. Do not murder. Don't commit adultery. Don't steal. Do not lie, do not covet. These are the words of God, and they're for real. Yes! Give yourself a round of applause. Go ahead and have a seat. Thanks, Nathan. Appreciate that very much. Oh, so fun. You guys are such good sports. I really do appreciate that. And if you're a guest with us and you're like, these people are so weird. Yep, that's true, but in the best kind of way. So One of the funny things about this week, or one of the funny things that happens to me very often, and I don't know why I haven't learned, it's been over 30 years, but I think one of the things that I've discovered is that God will literally put me through or have me experience personally whatever it is I'm going to be teaching about on Sunday. And those of you that are preachers know that this kind of shows up. It's an experience of life. In fact, sometimes Kathy and I will, not that we argue because we're a pastor couple, and of course we don't do any of those sinful things, but let's just imagine that we argued periodically. And one of the things that'll happen is we'll have these arguments on Saturday night, and they'll often be literally about the topic that I'm preaching about the next morning. And so it's gotten to the point where what'll be really funny is Kathy and I will be about ready to launch. And I'm talking about, like, you're going down the runway, you can feel the momentum, you're about to have a pretty good argument. Again, not you, but other people. And so as we're getting there, sometimes now she'll say, wait, what are you preaching about tomorrow? And I'm like, reconciliation. She's like, I wish you would just tell me at the beginning of the week, like it was. So we do that, but it's been that way this week. One of my responsibilities in our family is I'm in charge of what I call the fleet. And what I mean by that is we have 4 kids and they all drive now. And so we have cars kind of moving around in our driveway a lot. And we do the pass down. And so we tried to time it out so that we kind of have the appropriate level of hoopty for the early driver kind of thing. And that's what we've done pretty well, I think. And right now, we're in the place that over the next 6 months, it'll be time for us to buy a car. Now, I love cars. I really do. I'm not good at them. I can't fix your car. If something goes wrong with your car, I'll do what most of the people will do in this room, and we'll open up the hood and stare at it and talk about it and have no idea what to do. But I love them. I've loved them since I was a kid. I can almost tell you the make and model, and within a couple of years at about half a mile of about any car. It's just fun. And I've always been able to do that. And really nice cars or powerful cars or even new cars, I just think are the most fun. And so right now I am consumed with several different apps, and lately ChatGPT, which will help me do like the craziest research on every possible car imaginable. And so I've gotten to the place where I'm within probably 4 months of pulling the trigger, or whatever it is you should say when you're going to buy the car. And I find myself finally going to the dealership, right? Because I'm finally doing that thing. And so yesterday, actually, Kyle and I were out for some afternoon, and he's game. And so we're going to go to the dealership, and we're going to the Honda dealership, we're going to the Mazda dealership, we're looking at a couple cars. This is what we're doing. And so on the way, we drive by the Mercedes dealership. So I'm not alone, right? So this is what happens. I'm like, I think the CR-V is a pretty good car. I don't know. Maybe it's the C. I don't know. And stuff. And I'm like, what is that? And like all of a sudden these beautiful cars, right? And then there's this Lexus dealership, and I'm like, I bet we could get into a Lexus, And then a guy goes by with a really nice Volvo, and I'm like, but wait, maybe Sweden. Like I have this kind of thing, and it builds up in my mind, right? And I start thinking, it would be so much fun. It would be so beautiful. These cars are just incredible. And I do this kind of stuff. So by the time I get to the Honda dealership, I'm like, yeah, what do you got? It's like, it's flat, right? One way or the other. And I do this too on airplanes. I don't know if you do this. But if you walk into the airplane and you forget to, sign up then 24 hours like a maniac, and you're walking on and you're in the third seating group or whatever it is, and you walk by the first 6 or 8 rows right there in the people that sat down first, or if you're in like a not Southwest Airlines, the first class area, and they're like already having snacks and seem to be laughing, this world, and then you get past the curtain and there's a lady that's like, keep going, you are not in here, like this kind of thing. And I'm like, all right. So go back and sit down and do my, by the way, I sit down, so it's pretty tight back there. And I have this kind of feeling of like, there's just a little bit more. There's something a little bit nicer. There's something just like a little bit better. There's a car that's a little bit better. There's a seat that's a little bit nicer. I'll go to concerts and I'm like, looking over, from the third balcony, I'm like, those second row seats look pretty tight, and I'm like having that feeling all the time, one way or the other. And don't get me wrong, we get beautiful, don't get me wrong at all, but probably like you, maybe, constantly I'm thinking like there's something a little better, something a little nicer, something a little more, just like, and it gets in me and I'm like, oh boy, that's a nice set of, I like those sunglasses. I'm gonna go, oh, that watch is cool, and it just kind of, it's creepy to me how they go. And then the commercials, the advertisements are just kind of eating at me, and they're telling me not only what I should do, but which prescriptions I could have so that I could even look better, feel better, be better, like all this other kind of stuff. And I'm like, if I take this one pill, I have lots of friends and we sit by a pool. And where did the pool come from? Does the pool come from the drugs? That's amazing. And it's just like this constant feeling that I have that if, like just a little bit, it's almost like the world is sort of conspired against me to make me feel like I'm just a tiny bit dissatisfied. Anybody else in here feel that way? Yeah, one honest person, that's fine. No, we all feel that way. And what that often is, or what I feel that is it's this idea that we're talking about this morning called covet. I'm coveting something just a little bit better, that I perceive to be a little bit better, that I see that life might be a little more fun, a little more free, that if I could just be that, do that, experience that, maybe my life would be what I want it to be, right? And so obviously, that's just a toxic reality, right? But I discovered something this week. I actually think coveting may be our best friend. Would you stand with me as we read the scripture this morning? It comes from Exodus 20. It's pretty short. We're rounding it out this week. Remember about your ox and donkey, very important. Let's read together from Exodus 20, beginning at verse 17. We read together. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. These are the very words of God. You may be seated. So just to reset ourselves, what's going on is God is, of course, moving the Hebrews out of Egypt and into the desert, moving them out of slavery and into freedom, moving them out of a story that has been laid upon them and pressed into them through the Egyptian world, and he's giving them the new story that will eventually become the people and the city that is a light on a hill and the hope of the world, the root of our faith, the experience of the desert that actually sets not only them free, but gives us the opportunity to do the same. It's a profound moment to think about these folks walking out into this desolate place. And when you are in that place, in the Sinai, it's a surprise. If you've been, you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, I'll just tell you. You imagine maybe when you're walking in the Sinai that it would sound like sand when you're walking, kind of that shuffle. And there is a bunch of that. But most of the Sinai is like broken stone. So it sounds more like you're walking on pottery. It's this clink and clank, and it's aggravating, and it's hot because that rock just absorbs all the heat every day, and you can't quite tell if the sun is hotter than the earth as you walk across these open, kind of amazing, beautiful, but desolate spaces that make you feel like you're walking on the moon. And I always imagine what would that be like to do that with my grandmother, my niece, my family, all of their friends, all y'all, and every animal that we would have. And then somehow, by the way, we decided to take all the gold from our neighbors, which we thought that would be great out in the desert. But anyway, different day. Dragging, schlepping this stuff through the desert. And God has us on a journey not to get somewhere, but to become something. And let me tell you something. If you're in this room right now, you are not in here to go somewhere. You are here to become something. Covet. We talked last week about how all of the 10 commandments somehow have been put on this apex of morality, like, oh, it's the 10 commandments, they're the most important and all this kind of stuff. And then we realized, no, they're not the most important. They're not the apex, they're the ground floor. They're the first 10 steps. This is the basement. This is the of courses. Because then we see what Jesus does is he takes them all and he lifts them out of actions into our hearts. And then we realize through that that's what God is doing from the very beginning. And so right here in community, why not covet? Why not ask for? Why not want what somebody else has? Like, what is that all about? Well, in community, which is the whole point, God says that is a destroyer of community. You are destroying your neighbor. You are destroying yourself by the dissatisfaction that we feel all the time, that if we just had their stuff or their life, we would be happy. It's this sort of strange, broken thing. It comes in cultures, by the way, that are enslaved in mind and body and spirit, because slavery essentially means that everybody doesn't have like a value to themselves. They only have a value for what they can do. More importantly, what they can do for or give you. One of the ways to know if your culture is transactional, which is what this is, transactional or has a slaved mindset, is how it treats the aged, the oldest in the community. Ultimately, if what we do is treat the oldest by letting them get quieter and quieter and put easily off to the side where they don't know anything but can be kind of gently taken care of, and in their silence we have honored them, that is an enslaved, transactional community that has decided that the aged has nothing to say. The Bible tells us that is the opposite of what we are called to do. There is this position where essentially when the gray hair arrives, you stand. I remember this as a kid. We would, when my grandmother or anybody would come into the room for the first time, we would all stand up to greet her. We recognized her as the matriarch of our family. I didn't think about it at the time. I just knew we were all standing up, and then we would give her a kiss, and then she would sit wherever she wanted. And if that was your seat, find another seat. That's how that went. It wasn't questioned, it wasn't rude, it was the way things were. Because now she was there. Like, it was a big deal. And now, as my parents often feel left out of conversations, left out of decisions, and not really always treated in that same way in their world, we hope to treat them in our world better. But this is the thing. You can see it. Can you see that in our culture? That fading reality? By the way, if you can't see it, everybody in here that's over a certain age is shaking their head. They can see it. Try this one on, by the way. In the world of AI, where knowledge is ubiquitous, you have every piece of information you'll ever want in your phone. Knowledge is no longer what we are looking for from teachers. It is wisdom. Which means that we must find a way to re-engage those that have it. The other part of covet you can see in that transactional thing is that when we covet, again, it's people become transactional. We actually think that their lives, everything that comes with it. And so what we have to do is leave transaction behind. Well, what's the option? The option is so much fun. The option is we turn our relationships from transactional to transformational. Like, they become transformational in your life, which means that you're essentially looking at a person just like this incredible story that is engaging your story, full of love and hope, or brokenness and pain, and you're going to figure out how to live together with each other. What does that person have to teach me? What part of life are we going to share? How can I lean toward them and them toward me? What it means to be transformational is that a community provides for each person in such a way that they feel home. Home. Deep in their bones as a way of life. How do we begin to treat each other like we're looking at home and just trying to discover it. You see, then people that don't have much money, then people that maybe have a unique way of being in the world, maybe people that we have discounted become our greatest treasure. Transformational is what God asks for us in our community. Not only for us in here, but like by our practice when we go out into the world. My great hope is that the kingdom spreads across the earth continually as Jesus promised that it would, in a way that we see it in our neighborhoods, so that it becomes transformational in such a way that people will say when there's pain, when there's crisis, when there's an issue, where's the church? Where are they? Because I know when they show up, this will be resolved. We have work to do. We may live as transactional. We need to live into our transformational reality. Then there's the personal piece. This one is less fun for me. Really what we do when we covet is that we want to live another person's life in some way. We want to have their house. We want to have their car. We think that if their spouse or whatever it was, right, that would be better. And when we do that, what we're really saying is, my story is not enough, or I don't know what my story is. What God is actually saying to us is, your story is not only valuable, but I have written it. And if you'll let me tell my story through you, the deep satisfaction of your life will blow your mind and unlock your heart. We used to have a thing in our house for the kids. It used to say, be yourself. Everyone else is taken. Nothing more true than discover your own identity. Do not covet means know who you are. Discover it. It takes time. It is often in the place where your deepest passion meets the world's greatest need. Where does your deepest passion meet the world's greatest need? And then finally, I have a friend who's been in recovery over 25 years. He got his 20-year chip on a trip I led to Israel. His wife brought it. I didn't know that was going to happen. We were on top of a mountain. She walked up to him and just opened her hand with this 20 years. And they had this really beautiful moment. It's like, if you are in recovery and part of the recovery world in any way, you know this is big time. He's now probably 6-8 years past that. And I asked him not too long ago, I was like, so do you still say you're an alcoholic? You've been sober for like 25 years. And he's like, oh, yeah. I said, why? He goes, because I am. I was like, well, okay, I'm asking the wrong question. What do you mean when you say you're an alcoholic? I said, do you think about alcohol all the time? He's like, no, I hadn't thought about it in a long time. He's like, well, do this. He's like, no, I don't do any of that other kind of stuff. I said, well, what's the deal? He said, well, how do you mean? And I said, why do you think God has not just relieved that from you if you periodically it surfaces? Like, what is that about? Why wouldn't God just remove it? I don't get it. Why wouldn't the Holy Spirit just come in and take that away? And he said, oh, I hope God never does. I was like, what? I said, what do you mean? He said, why would I want God to remove the brightest neon sign pointing at the place that I am most wounded, most insecure, and need the most work? It's the best diagnostic that I have in my life. When my alcoholism surfaces, I can know for sure what the issue is, and I can actually do something about it. It's the greatest gift I have for becoming whole. And I was just, my mind was blown. So what do you covet? What do I covet? What do I want a little more? Maybe that's the greatest neon sign pointing at the place that we need healing more than anything else. But I think there's something important about coveting. You know that feeling that you have that just the world should be better? That feeling that you have that kind of rises up in you that's like, even I should be better. Like, come on. That you look at your kids and you're like, no, you're more noble than that. You're stronger than that. You're more capable than that. You're more loving than that, right? There's this, the world should be better, that there should be this brighter hope, that love should be permeating, like things should be better, that almost deep-seated in your bones thing that just kind of shakes you all the time. It's what makes you upset and angry when things aren't right. It's that peace. Well, I actually think that that's the beginning of covet. It's the beginning where we say, this is what's wrong, right? We feel that heat come up in us. The trouble is, when we're coveting, it's because we've made it about us. It's when we make the compass, the North Star of our internal compass is us. It's the greatest place of sin. It's the actual moment where we realize covet isn't the lost 10th commandment. It's maybe the finale that points at every other commandment and shows you that if you didn't covet, making yourself the center of attention, God would be the center. If you didn't make yourself or myself the center of attention, then it would be time that would be under your control. Yourself, what's sacred? Yourself, you control. Your parents give to you, not you give to them. You make it yourself, and you should be able to have sex with anybody that you want to satisfy your own needs, even if that's your neighbor. If it was yourself, then you should be able to take anything that you want because it satisfies you. It satisfies me. That's how this works. If we become the North Star of our life, then covet is the seed of sin itself. It's not the lost commandment. It's the seed of them all. And at the same time, that rising hope that begins and turns toward covenant by the grace of God can become that which turns us toward the cross. It can help us say, you know, if this compass of mine is about me, then this is going to be a train wreck in covet. But Jesus shows up and says, friends, I know that you think you're the center of the world, but let me show you what happens when you put love at the center of the world. And he walks through each piece, each life, each invitation, and each hope, and rises everybody to an entirely different place in the world. And then invites not only them, but you and I to do the same. And ultimately he says, look, make the cross, make the hope of God, make love itself, if that's the way it makes sense to you, the North Star, the north of your compass, and your directional hope will change in such a way that the things that you hope for will begin to rise in your own life and in the life that is around you. It won't all be fun. It will be hard. There will be suffering, but in it there will be hope, and the world needs it now, maybe more than ever it has. And we can't think that because we talk about it, that it will rise. We have to do it. And the best part is, Jesus is already out there busy. We just need to join him. I wonder what it would be like for the kingdom to rise amongst us and then overflow out of these windows, overflow out of these doors. These 10 proclamations are stories to be told, lives to be lived, worlds to be changed. Maybe covet is our best friend. Will you pray with me? Eternal God, we turn now toward a time of reflection. And as the worship team comes forward to lead us, and just a moment in which we can allow this to resonate in our hearts and minds, we would ask that you would just let us settle into this space. Help us not only think of that rising hope, that great North Star. Encourage us, teach us, lead us, gather us, and shape us. We ask all this in Jesus' holy and precious name. Amen.